Good to see you all today.
Guys, Benjamin, I have missed you, bro. What the?
I know. I saw you have this Instagram. Let's make it real, bro. I was like, was that made for
Yeah,
me?
bro.
That's great. Where did you start using the word bro?
Yeah, bro. You. Come on. What are you talking about? Actually, you want to hear something really funny? I have a client who is, oh my God, I love this girl. She's 18
Hmm.
and she's so awesome. And she calls everyone bro. She calls her girlfriends bro. She calls her mom bro. And I'm
I
like, I
love it.
love that you call everybody bro. So let's make it
I
real.
want to
Is that
meet this girl. Did you
she's
just because
amazing.
I'm doing that with dude now?
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
She just got into Emory, so she goes to Emory University.
What? ATL
Yeah.
in the house.
Let's say hello to Julia. Let's
Hi,
see.
Julia. I love and all the students at Emory. What's up, y'all?
Yeah, what's up,
I
guys?
love me some Atlanta.
Exactly. So, Let's Make It Real is actually a program that I have been working on since January. Actually, it's an eight module program about learning how to ask for what you want. And oftentimes, we keep all this
Okay.
shit in our head about, hey, I'd like this and I'd like that and I like this and I'd like that, but we don't actually take the step to ask for it, right? So it's kind of a bit of a manifestation tool, but it's a bit of a manifestation program. But I would say it's really more of a vulnerability thing because it's the opportunity. I mean, the hardest thing sometimes is just to ask for what you want. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
notice?
that's so
Have you ever
awesome.
noticed though how hard it is for people to say no? It's hard for
Yes.
people to say no. So imagine now it's hard for
Yeah.
people to say no, and it's hard for you to say no, but you're not saying asking for anything. But if you did ask for anything, you'd receive everything.
I think it's hard for some people to say yes, too. And we're
That's
even using these words hard. I want to take that out and say unfamiliar because hard
yeah.
is made up,
Yeah.
right? So if it wasn't hard, like here's already the first tool I'm thinking about, like how to keep things light today. That's what we're talking about, right? You could be going through the most intense, painful time of your life, and there's still an opportunity to keep things light.
Yeah, exactly.
We're getting notes from our producer. How do we sound as far
How
as
do we
keeping
sound?
things light? And so the thing is, just to right away to start to ask, um,
Yeah.
are you willing to say yes as well? There's so many men. So I'm starting my group, my men's group, the Lion's Den, this season. So
With
it's been going on for 18 months.
yes, roar, bitches, roar.
Roar. That's what I always tell them. You can roar however you want. If it's like a queenie roar or you want to beat your chest and scare everyone, roar.
Just roar. Who cares?
It's about taking up space and it also is about being vulnerable. So in this program for 12 weeks, we just practice 12 guys or less. We practice just being holding space for each other, practice being vulnerable, practice being ourselves, practice asking for what we want, practice saying no. And what's so interesting to me though is there's so many men saying yes to this program,
Hmm.
and then comes up this reason of why it suddenly reasons come up like no, I shouldn't do this, or oh, I'm really trying to save a little bit of money. I'm like,
Wow.
this is you know an investment in your life, and we don't
Yeah.
even know. What I'm seeing missing is that so many of us don't even know how to value ourselves
Yes.
enough
Correct.
to invest in ourselves, to know that we are worthy. So we're willing to give the shirt off our own back for other people, but we're not willing to take that time to really invest in ourselves. And that is part of the yes energy that I'm talking about, that's important to also be open to. Because if you're saying, oh, I want all these things, but if it doesn't look the way you want it, you're like, oh, no, 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 like this isn't it, this isn't it. Like the universe is literally trying to
Yeah.
give you things. And so where are you a no to that stuff?
Yeah, exactly. And why? But the question is also, if you step back and ask
It's a
yourself,
good question.
why am I not making myself a priority here? Right? Why am I not making my well-being, my life, my choices, my desires, my asks, my wants a priority here? Then what can I do to change that?
I
I've
love that.
recently been doing some couples counseling actually, and it's been really
Beautiful.
incredible. And something that came up recently is this whole idea of being selfish, right?
Mm.
And it's really, really amazing because this one guy, he said that his wife was selfish, and he listed all the reasons why he was selfish and blah, 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 blah. And anyway, at the end of it, what I was aware of, I was aware of, is that by him calling her selfish, he was manipulating her, right? He was manipulating her into trying to be something that he wanted her to be, instead of actually empowering her to say, hey, you know what? You do you in all that you do, be amazing at all that you do. I'm going to do all that I do. And then we can be all amazing together, right? We use that term oftentimes, being selfish, as a way to control things, as a way to control others, as a way to control ourselves. Oh no, I'm being selfish. I can't right now. I don't want to be too greedy, right? But what if you being greedy and you being selfish was what was required to change the fucking world? Would you do it? Wow, you know? Yeah. And just because you quote unquote decide that you're selfish, being selfish doesn't mean you're excluding everything in anyone else. What we got to at the bottom of it with this woman was, I asked her, I said, are you selfish? And she goes, of course I'm not selfish. She's like, I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. And he goes, but you don't have time for me. And I said, so that's why you perceive that she's selfish, because she doesn't have time for you. Isn't that interesting? That's what you want. So what does she want? And then all of a sudden the story changes, right? And I asked her, I said, if you were being the most selfish bitch on the planet, what would that look like? And you know what? Nothing. None of that changed. None of what she did already changed, but it included her.
I don't quite understand. So none of what she did already changed, but it included her. Can you elaborate what you mean by that?
Yeah. Oh. Hold on. I'm losing you on Instagram, Ben.
Okay, we're here. We still got you.
Okay, cool.
But we are echoing on your end now. So it sounds like
it just booted me off on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that an interesting point of view? How does it get any better?
It is.
Like,
just for audio's sake, I am hearing myself delayed and echoed.
Okay. 1 second. Let me get this back up and working.
And we're just going to pause, everyone.
Can you bring me back? Am I here?
Yeah, I can bring you back. Yeah, a lot of people are saying bad echo. Thank you. We're so aware and we're so grateful. And we're going to keep it light for you anyway.
All right, guys.
So I had a comment here. How do you handle negative people? And also just want to bring it back to like, oh, okay, Daniel's here. So Daniel, do you want to elaborate on anything you said before we move forward?
No, I think it's just, I would like for us all to reconsider what it means to be selfish, and who told you that you're selfish, and how did it stop you from actually going after what you really, really want and what you're really looking for? And and how can you include more of you in everything that you do? Go ahead, be the most selfish motherfucker there is, you know?
Amen. And what would happen? So who does that belong to? And I think this is what we're, a little bit of what we're talking about, because I have been taught my whole life to be of service, to help others, to help others, to help others. Even when you go into 12 steps programs, and it is about like dealing with the thinking, so much of it is about crushing the ego so that you can, not think about yourself. But there's this huge part that we're missing that is a beautiful thing. And I talk about the 12 steps because this 12-step programs are one of the most amazing, incredible things created, because they're still going on after like 80 years where no one's in charge and it's working and they're saving people's lives every day. But part of what it is being willing to turn a power over something greater than yourself.
Right.
To actually do prayer and meditation, to spend the time asking for what you want and taking care of your soul. No matter what you believe in, the universe wants you to be well. The universe needs you well. And if you're not well, then we can't enjoy you and you can't enjoy life. If you don't make time for your wellness, you'll make time for your illness.
Ooh, I love that. It's true.
It's so true.
So true.
And I just spent time being sick because I was burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your audio sounds amazing now, by the way.
Does it? Okay, good.
Yeah.
One of my friends, Christopher Hughes, this weekend in a class, he said, pretend like the penis is a mic. The mic is a penis. Get as
Yeah.
close as possible.
And so to answer, first of all, I want to say hey to our man Paid to Drive on YouTube. To answer the question that has come up, like, how do we handle negative people? It's about starting to, how do we handle our own negative self-talk first? How do you talk to yourself? How do you deal with yourself? You can't keep it light if you beat yourself up all the time. One of the things Daniel and I think are both great about doing is like bringing lightness to these things. It's about creating a new solution. And I want to bring this to, I was reading this beautiful book called, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on it now. The Body Keeps the Score. And it's about trauma. And it's by Vander Kool, I believe is the name. And literally they're learning in science and everything, all the proof is out there, is that your trauma healing is not just in your head, but it's in your body. Things things happen in our life when we keep recreating them. Right? But there's this amazing thing that children do that adults don't always do. And that's after a trauma. Like there's a child who had drawn a picture of 9/11. And 9/11 just happened. I lived there. I almost died. It was a very intense week for me, but I still looked at the opportunities to keep it light. And I couldn't believe last night I opened the book and this book's like 20 years old. And here was a chapter about 9/11. Wow. And about this therapist was seeing this family, and the young boy one day had brought in a picture, and it was of the towers and people jumping and all these things. And then he noticed a black circle at the bottom of the picture, and he said, what's the little black circle? And he said, it's a trampoline. So next time when people need to jump out, they'll live.
Aww.
And
stop. I can't. Wow.
Yeah. And why the child was able to seek a solution is because they had been removed. They were able to run away from, he was one of the kids who was in school at Ground Zero, right? Wow. He was one of the kids who had run away, but he had gotten away to safety. His parents were there. He was able to reset. His nervous system was able to calm, and then he was able to see a new solution. So instead, what we adults do as we go into the trauma and we replay it for the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
Right. So and I have PTSD, and the literal way I practice reprogramming it on a daily basis, especially the times when I have really intense nightmares about 9/11 or anything else, is I imagine something wonderful. And I learned this from a soldier studying trauma and PTSD. I just reimagine something wonderful happening in the place of that. So, and I'm reprogramming all those old pathways that have been created because of a traumatic experience. So, for example, if I'm dreaming about a tidal wave coming to swoop over New York City, so I'll just reimagine a dolphin appearing and be like, hey, buddy, come on, get on my back. We'll swim away. Aww. Or we'll surf with this tide. And just even making up that scenario automatically creates a new solution. So literally what I'm having to do is try to choose something different. And it's not pushing away the event. We know those things happen. We know that, we've got to do some self-care, but it's about choosing differently. And so could we choose some lightness? What if we could have fun, in our grief? What if we could have fun thinking about solutions like trampolines?
It's funny too, because, don't they always say that laughter is the best medicine. Right. Mm. And I remember from Vienna, my teacher, she always used to say that, one of the greatest prescriptions that we can have for our well-being is to smile. And because it actually changes the physiology in our bodies and in our lives, it changes the chemistries in our bodies and in our lives. And so what would happen if we just took a pause and remembered to smile, right? And just remembered to say, I don't really know why this is coming up for me. I don't really know why I have this awareness of a tidal wave crashing into Manhattan, but I'm just going to laugh at it because maybe it's just, the universe wanting to play with me instead of torture me, right? Creating a different reality of possibility. I know that last year I experienced my first earthquake ever here in Mexico City, and it scared the shit out of me. Oh my God, it was so scary. And because I'd never experienced it before, right? And they always say in Mexico City that most of the worst earthquakes have happened in September.
Mm.
And so came around, September has come around, and I started to notice myself go into this space of like, oh my God. And now I live in an extra large tower. It's extra tall. And I'm like, oh my God, what happens if there's an earthquake? And it's funny that you mentioned the thing about the dolphin, because I started making a joke with myself to grab my surfboard, to grab my surfboard and
Hmm.
just ride the waves of the earth, because literally the building just completely sways, and you're like, wow, this is crazy, this is crazy, this is crazy. And it can be so freaking scary. And
Wow.
so I recognize that the PTSD, if you will, from last year's earthquake is like tickling me this year. And so I keep
Yeah.
asking, okay, what if I could outcreate it? What if I put on my Zeus ring, and I go, I'm going to be Zeus today, and I'm going to prevent all earthquakes. Remember when we were kids and we had like our little superhero costumes, our underoos, and we'd run around the house in our superhero costumes, and we fully believed that we were superheroes. You know, every once in a while, I go back to that place, and it's like I go back to that place, and I'm like, hey, I'm a superhero. I can change anything. You know, and how
I
does it get
love
even
that,
better?
Daniel. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so amazing. Being the superhero. Yeah. That's wonderful. And that's bringing like some creative lightness to it too. And I want to mention a little bit, because there was a question about, we throw around terms like PTSD, and I want to like get clear on, because it's also Mental Health Awareness Month. And
Yes, it is.
post traumatic stress disorder is when, you've had a trauma, your body creates a stress, and it keeps creating the stress even when the trauma isn't there. So we keep
Yeah.
creating basically these dramas. Like, where do we do this in other parts of our lives? To protect ourselves. This may be the way of being we have when we're triggered by a partner or a person or something like that, or a loud sound that feels disruptive to either ourselves, our lives, or others.
Exactly.
And we have an opportunity to reprogram our bodies, to reprogram our nervous systems. And our parents aren't going to do that for us anymore. We co-regulated our nervous systems with our parents when we were young. And if we didn't have a safe environment, then we developed even more defense mechanisms that we might carry today. But all these things don't actually work for us all the time. We're protecting against these threats, but Daniel had a beautiful daily download meditation this morning on vulnerability and accessing our vulnerability, and all these walls and barriers and things we use to defend ourselves actually keep us from being vulnerable. They allow us from letting things in or out. So if we can practice, like, what if we were safe today? What if today went well? No matter, like, even if you're waking up in a war zone, like, how could today turn out better? Or how could today turn out differently? Or how could I be the change today?
That's
Right?
right.
But you have to this is so key, put the oxygen mask on yourself first. And I think you even said that this morning, Daniel.
Yeah.
This is the selfish part that's so important. Even if you're a parent, you've got to give yourself that time, the nurturing. Think about how much time you spend caring for your child when a child's born, and how much time you spend caring for yourself during that time. Granted, you can
Right.
be at the effect of sleep, but are you trying to put regulation in your system too? You're trying to regulate this child. But what if you took yourself as seriously as a newborn child, and you took your self-care as seriously as that? You made sure you
Exactly.
were slept, fed, cuddled, loved, asked for what you needed, and
Yep.
said it out loud. Kids have no problem asking for what they want or need. No
You
problem.
know, it also reminds me too, we also, in the space of being vulnerable, we have to be vulnerable with ourselves, right? And yeah, I love that, Jason. Yeah, what if we took care of ourselves? What if we were vulnerable with
Mm,
ourselves? What if we actually practiced that compassion and that love and that healing that we want to offer others? If we practiced it on ourselves,
mm.
you know?
I love
My
that.
teacher, Vienna, always says the biggest problem with most of her students is that they don't work on themselves. They're so
Yes.
busy and they're so happy to work on other people
Yeah.
because they've known that they had this ability to love and to care and to heal and to have compassion for others, but then they learn the tools and they go, oh, hey, now I can use it on everybody else. And she says,
Hmm.
it's a big missed opportunity, because if we're not working on ourselves, then how can we really be better and work on others,
Amen to that, Daniel.
And what if it was fun? What if it was fun?
Yes.
We often think of like working on ourselves. It's like, oh my God, it's so heavy. But what if it's fun? I know for me, working on myself is like knitting. Sometimes I knit when I'm working on myself, or I play Tetris. I don't really play many video games, but I still play Tetris. And it's a way to meditate. I do too.
No wonder we're friends. Yeah.
Exactly.
I also want to give a couple tools that I learned from actually one guy who's like one of the most productive, successful humans I know. He has, all these multi-million-dollar businesses, and he has different homes, and he travels the world, and he's got kids, blah, 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 blah. Well, he practices being bored every morning. He practices 10 minutes of boredom. And he sits outside or somewhere peaceful, and, being still is often in the 4 pillars of wellness: nutrition, movement or exercise, sleep, and stillness or meditation. This is often one that is overlooked so much in our society because we're all hyper productive, and being still is not productive either. But taking time to even set an intention, to practice being still enough so that we can hear our bodies vibrating, so that we can hear what's needed. I was also, as far as having fun, like I was talking to a client yesterday, and he's about to propose to his significant other. And he's also let the cat out of the bag to some of his family. So they're like, come on. And he is so, God bless this man. He is so stressed out about it. He's so stressed out. That's part of the reason why we saw each other, because of stress. And, I said, could you have fun designing a proposal for her? Like, do you think your partner wants you to be like having a meltdown while you're thinking about spending the next, and by the way, after you ask her to marry you, you don't know if she's going to say yes, and you're still not married, yet.
Yeah.
So, like, what's right about this that you're not getting? How could you have fun? And he was like, oh,
wow, that's a great idea.
So we can stress ourselves out about things. And we've talked about it on the show before, eustress, positive stress. So how can you use these stress for big events in your life to actually for you? And how can you have fun?
That's right.
Part of having fun is saying yes. And for me, even though I knew it might stretch my well-being a little bit tonight, I took the morning off tomorrow, and I'm going to see Pearl Jam with one of my best friends tonight.
No way.
With Jay Gillespie, who just joined us, and he invited me, and it was a huge missing. I've been complaining about 20 years about living in New York City, never being able to see Pearl Jam because it's always sold out, and none of my friends invite me. They know how big of a fan I am. And a guitarist from my old band, Samvara. Ooh, we have music online. If you like hard rock, Daniel, this will blow your mind. We're on Spotify. We're called Samvara. And if you want to hear this sweet little man scream his head off and rock and roll, listen to it.
You're the one who's screaming his head off?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so I was a lead singer and rock guitarist for like 20 years, 30 years, and I'm bringing it back into Dirty May, but Samvara is the rock band I had, and the guitarist who helped me start the band is Jay Gillespie, is the man who invited me to go to this concert tonight, and we've been trying to hang out for years. And I want to acknowledge Jay for giving himself the gift of like time away from his family and asking me, giving me the opportunity to say yes, and
that's so
and
exciting.
have fun and take time off of my business, because I realized I had all these reasons why I shouldn't go or couldn't go.
Sure.
But out of my mouth, I've taught myself. So out of my mouth came yes, before, and I said I knew I'd figure out all the other stuff. It's like really far from me. It's inconvenient, but there's an energy of allowing, and he and I are both giving ourselves a gift by saying yes to this, and we're investing a lot of money in it too, because it's something that brings us so much joy.
Is it
and
in
those
the
are
city?
No,
No?
it's like in Philadelphia. It's so far. It's like
Wow.
4.5 hours from me.
Wow, that's
Um,
awesome.
but I didn't even know where it was. I just said yes, that's who I am. That's my commitment to having fun.
Right.
So I also want to acknowledge Jason Happy Always, who's here, for saying yes. Jason jumped into the lion's den and he is
Awesome.
joining us this fall.
Wow.
So I'm saying that because this is the place where if you're wanting to do something, if you're wanting to connect with men, if you're wanting to have more fun in your life, if you're wanting to finally like practice these tools and have a place to practice them, the Lion's Den is part of Dude School, which I'm creating, which is just a place where we learn from each other and we get to raise each other up and lift the vibration and hold space for each other. And you can cry and be angry and self-righteous and selfish and all those things with no judgment. And there's something I've learned amazing about group energy, and I know you know this, Daniel. It's why I do this with you, is that if there's someone who's not like in your life every day, it is an even safer space to go to. It's why therapy works so well, because
Right.
you're literally creating a space that's not your immediate friends and family, but you're building a tribe around you. You're building what I call like a circle of trust.
Absolutely.
And that can be as big or small as you want, but you've got to start with yourself.
That's
And
right.
so the Lion's Den is a space I've created for 12 weeks for men right now. It's going to open up to more people. And so if you're a man who's been seeking that, or if you know any men in your life who are seeking that kind of space and you want to have more fun and practice being yourself and vulnerable, this is your invitation. I, Ben Curtis, am inviting you to join me. And if you have anything to work out around logistics or money, it's only 12 weeks. All you have to do is click the link in my bio and book a call with me or send me a message. I do a free coaching call for anyone who wants to, because I'm that committed to making a difference for people in their lives. And that's why we do this podcast. So
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
want to say thank you for those of you who have said yes to yourselves that allow us to continue to do this work. And I'm
I want to
getting so
also add
clear.
something here. I've got to add something here, Mr. Curtis.
Please,
Okay.
I'm going to close my mouth and listen to yours.
I have to. Well, you know what? I'm opening my mouth for you, babe. Okay.
Thank you, honey.
So it's as if you were speaking to. Okay. I have to say that the gift of Ben Curtis is that he has an ability to see beyond what most of us can see, and it not only does he hold space for us and for everyone when he is facilitating or when he is in that role. He really, really makes you look at a part of you that you want to get to know. He invites you to a greater possibility with parts of yourself that you didn't even know existed. And I think that it's such a gift. It's such a gift of Ben's. And so if you're listening to this and it resonates with you, I can't recommend it enough. It's a time of transition, first of all, in the cosmos.
Yeah.
Okay, we're right
Wow,
here
is
in the
it
middle.
ever?
Yeah, we're right here in the middle of Mercury retrograde, and Mercury retrograde is, as you guys all know, or maybe you don't know, I don't know. Mercury retrograde is a time where communication is challenging, and because Mercury retrograde challenges us to communicate with others, what it does is it gives us the ability to communicate with ourselves. So it gives us an ability to look inward. And what I would like, and what I do every Mercury retrograde is I say, okay, lights off. Sociable Daniel is switching his vibration and he's going into hermit mode. And in that space of being in the hermit mode, that's my time when I self-reflect. That's my time when I really, really go deep about what it is I want to change, so that when Mercury goes direct, then I have the support. And so what I would encourage you guys to do is go within you and go deep within you and ask yourself, what am I unwilling to change that if I changed would change my life forever? And get a sense of that. And then when Mercury retrograde is over, you can book a call with Ben now. And when Mercury retrograde is over, you guys will start Lion's Den, and you're aligning with the energies that flow in the universe so that they can contribute to you. I will tell you there's some magical energy that's coming in the middle of October, like October I'm gonna say around the October full moon. We'll say the October full moon is gonna bring a new wave of energy that's gonna be really impactful for all of us. And the one thing too that we want to keep in mind is that these particular 6 or 7 months that we're in now until the sign of Mars moves out of Gemini, it's about commitment. Okay. Commitment is going to be something that's super, super hard. Commitment to going after what we want. Commitment after being what we want to be. We have all of these lists and we have all of these ideas, and oftentimes we get overwhelmed with the possibilities and we go, oh, I don't know, screw it, I'll just do nothing. And so what Ben is also offering is this beautiful space to say, hey, you know what, let's come together, let's absolutely commit to ourselves, and let's take the next step forward. And so how does it get any better, right? Really, honestly, how does it get any better? So I just had to throw that in there, Ben, because, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm like, oh, wow, it's so interesting because it really aligns with everything that's going on in the cosmos. So it's being the force of creation instead of the force of reaction, right, guys? Because we can, if we're proactive, then we can create change. But if we're living in this life in which we're constantly fighting battles, constantly saying, ugh, I don't have enough money, where am I going to get it from? Ugh, my health is not good, what doctor do I have to go to? Yeah. Instead of treating the results and instead of treating the effects, what if we could treat the cause and be the cause instead? And these things don't come along haphazardly. Right? There's no coincidence that you're listening to this right now, wherever you are. And by the way, I don't get a cut for plugging Ben Curtis, just so you know. I just happen to love him very much, and he's changed my life, so I know he can change your life.
Oh, thank you so much for that acknowledgement, Daniel.
Absolutely.
I don't think men can hear it enough. It's time to say yes to yourself, whether you get in the lion's den, whether you do it or not. I would love to have a call with anyone who's open or willing. I just put my link up there for anyone. And even if it's like, you know what, you should work with my friend Daniel. Daniel, by the way, has trained me in theta healing. And so I get to use some of the gifts that he's trained me in. And Daniel, you don't know this, but we talk about you often in the Lion's Den.
Oh, yeah?
And everyone knows who you are because you're part of my life. And
I'm happy to make guest appearances, just so you know.
I thank you, universe. I keep asking to be shown how to get help, and I keep trying to do everything myself. So
you don't have to, babe.
I'm also in a beautiful work in progress in that. And I have to put these things, one of the reasons why I lead this group as for the accountability to help take care of myself and have that space for myself too, because I learn from these men as much as we all learn from each other. And that's the same reason. So anyway, I just want to say thank you, Daniel. Book that. Yes. And the other thing, we've talked about it here before, but a big source of my self-care in the mornings is spending time with Daniel on his daily downloads. He leads a live meditation for 15 minutes, meditation and healing, every fucking morning. And there's days I wake up and I feel like even this week, there's a couple days I felt like horrible. There's no way I could have gotten up earlier.
Yeah.
Life was just throwing so much at me. And I was like, my God, Daniel got up again this morning and did this.
And it's so funny. Just this morning, I was like,
so beautiful, that commitment.
I was hearing maybe those were your demons I was hearing, Ben, because they were like, my demons this morning were
this morning?
Ugh.
No, mine were good.
No, this morning you were good? You were
totally good.
Okay. Morning. All right.
But what did you hear?
I just wanted to stay in bed and snuggle with my boyfriend, and I was like, no, I'm gonna create some change in the world. So I did. And I think that's a commitment. We were talking about commitment, like whatever it is you're committed to. And again, it could only be, I say only, but it could be 15 minutes a day, right? For me, I created this program so I could be committed not only to myself, but to a dozen people, and if you would have told me almost 2 years ago that I would be doing this still every single day, and that my mother would be there and my aunt would be there, and that all of these people would just continue to grow and grow and grow, I would not believe you. But it's amazing, and it's my dream that that this program is something that can reach thousands of people far and wide. So we're working on expanding in different ways and what that looks like. But there is also an intimacy to the daily downloads that I refuse to let go of, So if you'd like to be a part of it, you're absolutely welcome. Anyone is welcome. You can register on my website, theprovocativeintuitive.com. But can I also say something technical really quick? If you guys have noticed, I'm using a different Instagram account today. Let's Make It Real, Bro is a program. It's something that I have coming in the coming months. Irrelevant, but you usually follow me on the Provocative Intuitive. And unfortunately, or fortunately, maybe it's a wonderful thing, it's been deactivated. So we are trying to get it back. We are going through all of the resources that are required. And hopefully it'll be back up and running. And if it's not, then it's not. And we're going to be here at Let's Make It Real, Bro for now. So how's it getting even better?
I've been there. And I love that you're bringing this to the technology, because we can make it wrong and get really angry, or we could just look for another solution. And Cassie has been locked out of hers for weeks. Really? She was like, I've been so much happier.
Right. I know. It's amazing, right?
Yeah. And so, we're really working through this stuff, and it's an opportunity. Listen, if you're challenged right now, it is an opportunity to let the fuck go.
Yeah, exactly.
Or create differently. If you're not getting what you want from this thing, choose differently. There's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. That's the same thing as PTSD, like continuing trying to replay this trauma like it's going to get better. That's what, no wonder we attract, there's a reason we attract people like our parents. We're trying to work out things that we're dealing with in this lifetime. That's okay. And what's right about this that we're not getting? How can we choose differently today? So if you're still dealing with the darkness, that's okay. Dark is not bad. It's just as important as the light. And yet, if you're the person who has a tendency, if their record needle always moves to that dark track, like today is an opportunity to practice just lifting and putting it on something different. And that could be as simple as taking a deep breath.
That's right. What a great conversation today, Ben. I've missed you so much. It was good that we took a breather last week. We had we needed to take a breather and step away, but we
had a
really,
self-care
really
day.
We did. We needed a self-care day. And thank you to everyone who's here, past, present, and future, for being a part of this co-creation. What else can we create together? I wonder. Thank you for your magic. Thank you for your willingness, your vulnerability, and we love you, truthfully.
We do love you. Now go love yourself.
Go love your fucking self, bitches.
And send your men to the lion's den.
Send your men to
eat
the
them up with
den.
love.
Roar, roar.
Oh, we roar a lot.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm going to declare it right now. We're going to bring Daniel into a lion's den this season if possible. So if you guys, for anyone who signs up, this is your last chance.
Ben, when is the start date?
We didn't mention that.
This coming Monday?
It's this coming Monday, September 19th.
Amazing.
So it'll be for the season, and the other thing.
Season? 12 weeks?
Yeah. So like the fall.
Yeah.
So and I have two groups. I have a lunchtime group and I have an evening group. So no matter where you are, you can have it start your day, you can have it end your day, depending on, and we have guys from across the country and even Canada. So we have a lot of different time zones. So that's why I do it virtually, to make it available for people everywhere.
Very cool.
And Mondays, because it's a great way to start your week. And then it's also like to set the intention before the Michigas builds, and then also to like digest a beautiful weekend and think about how we want to move forward.
Yeah.
But every day is a new day to start over. So thank you for joining us today. And please subscribe to our podcast if you haven't already, so that you can be the first one to get the full episode. And also it's always on our Wake Up Wednesdays page. So if you're not a friend of us there on Facebook, find our Wake Up Wednesdays. We love you.
Yes, we do.
Have a beautiful day.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. That's right. Take care, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Ta-ta.
Thank you, Ben.
For now. Bye-bye.